Humanity did not ignore the galaxy. The galaxy had been hidden from them. Commander Zara Rehman learned this at 04:17 in the morning, standing inside a cold command room under Geneva Prime. On the screen in front of her was an inbox no living officer had opened in decades. 912 unread messages. The oldest message was almost 67 years old. Junior analyst Ellis Ward stood behind her, pale and afraid. He had found the archive by accident while repairing an old diplomatic filter. Zara did not turn around. "Tell me this is not what I think it is." Ellis swallowed. The system marked them as unknown machine traffic. Anything from an unapproved outer system source was sent into low-priority storage. Zara's voice became quiet. "Spam." "Yes, Commander." She opened the first message. "Attendance required. Sentient status hearing. Solara System 2059. Then the next. "Second notice. Civil recognition review." Then another. "Final notice. Legal status hearing." The messages continued for years. Invitations, warnings, formal questions, review decisions. All of them unread, all of them waiting in the dark while humanity fought wars, rebuilt cities, buried the dead, healed the oceans, and reached for the stars alone. Zara opened the newest message. It had arrived 24 days ago from the Stellar Concord Registry Bureau. The writing was polite. That made it worse. It said Solara had failed to respond for more than 6 decades. It said Earth had been classified as an unconfirmed developing species. It said humanity had no voting rights, no legal treaty protection, and no legal standing in Concord space. Then came the final sentence. The inhabitants of Solara 3 may be observed for educational and historical purposes. Observed. Not heard. Not respected. Observed. Director Marcus Vale entered in a rush. "Commander, I was told this was urgent." Zara turned the screen toward him. He read silently. His expression changed from confusion to horror. "This is a system failure," he said. "We can explain." Zara opened another file. The United Solara Fleet Registry appeared. 1,036 active vessels. Not built for conquest, built from the bones of old wars. Rescue carriers made from bomber factories, shield cruisers designed by former weapons engineers, medical ships powered by technology first created for battlefield survival. Vale stared at the number. "Zara, what are you about to do?" Zara opened a reply to the Stellar Concord. "Representatives of Solara have received your messages. We will attend the next assembly in person. Please prepare a seat. We apologize for the delay." Vale whispered, "They may call this a threat." Zara pressed send. "No," she said. "They invited a civilization. We are sending one." Ellis stood frozen near the door. "Should I inform the Senate?" Zara looked again at the forgotten messages, each one a closed door. "Tell them humanity has a meeting to attend." But when the Stellar Concord saw what humanity brought to that meeting, their fear was not only about the ships, it was about the kind of species that could build them and still ask for peace.
3 days later, the Stellar Concord sent an observer to Earth. Her name was Leora Venn, senior examiner from Aran. Her people were famous for calm judgment. Their skin glowed when emotion moved through them, but trained diplomats learned to control the light. In official work, Leora was always silver blue. She landed expecting a confused young world. Instead, a human driver waited beside a black electric car. He was older, with gray hair, warm eyes, and a clean uniform. "Welcome to Earth," he said. "I'm Daniel Cade. I'll take you to Harbor 9. Leora looked at the car. "This is diplomatic transport?" Daniel smiled. For city travel, yes, the sky lanes are full this morning. She entered the vehicle. It moved into the city without sound. Earth did not match the old Concord files. Those files described a divided species, violent, slow to mature, and unsafe for recognition. But outside Leora's window was not a primitive world, it was a repaired one. Tall towers stood beside older buildings with visible scars. Flood walls shared gardens. Schools shared power grids with hospitals. Emergency shelters were painted with children's drawings. Above the skyline, orbital elevators reached upward like silver threads. Leora watched people move through the city with quiet purpose. They looked tired, but not broken. "This city was damaged?" she asked. Daniel nodded, many times. "And rebuilt each time?" "That is what people do when they still want tomorrow." Leora looked away. Something under her skin flickered pale white before she forced it back to blue. At Harbor 9, Admiral Ilias Mercer waited near the shipyard gate. He was tall, calm, and carried himself like a man who learned patience from loss. "Observer then, welcome." She touched his hand carefully. "Admiral Mercer, your fleet registry has worried the Concord." "I expected it would." "You have more ships than several recognized powers." "Yes." "Yet Solara has no record of attacking any civilization outside its system." Mercer looked toward the docks. "Because we learned late, but we learned." They entered Dock 12. Leora saw enormous vessels resting in repair frames. Humans moved across them with practiced care, not like performers, like workers who knew every bolt mattered. The ships' names caught her attention. Mercy After Fire, The Long Dawn, Homebound, Never Again. These were not names chosen for glory. They were names chosen after grief. Mercer stopped beside a shield carrier. For centuries, humans built machines to defeat other humans. After the last great wars, we had factories, soldiers, engineers, and too much memory. We could not erase that overnight, so we gave it a better job. Leora's glow shifted again, this time brighter. Mercer noticed. "What does that color mean?" She looked at the ships. "It means my training has failed me." That night, Leora sent an urgent report. "Solara is not primitive, it is not harmless, it is not seeking war. Its strength comes from survival, discipline, and memory. The Concord must not mistake restraint for weakness." And when Zara entered the Concord chamber, she did not arrive with a crown, a weapon, or an apology. She arrived carrying a simple folding chair.
Commander Zara Rehman walked into the Stellar Concord chamber with a folded chair in one hand. The room was enormous. It rose in wide circles like a stone arena filled with the voices of hundreds of worlds. Some delegates floated in liquid chambers. Some stood on metal limbs. Some spoke through machines that changed scent, clicks, and light into clear language. Every recognized civilization had a table. Every table had a symbol. Every symbol had a vote. Solara had been assigned a glass box high above the main floor. A sign beside it read, "Observer Area." Zara stopped in front of it. Inside were 3 benches, a dim light, and a cracked translation screen. No speaking panel, no voting terminal, no place for documents, no sign that anyone expected humanity to answer anything. Legal Officer Mara Quinn looked at the glass. They wanted us to watch ourselves being discussed. Cultural Envoy Tomas Reed held a thick folder against his chest. That is what their classification allows. Zara said nothing. She turned away from the box and walked down the steps. The chamber noticed. By the time she reached the central table, hundreds of alien eyes were following her. Zara opened the folded chair. The metal legs clicked into place. It was a small sound. In that room, it felt like a challenge. She sat. Mara placed a handmade card in front of her.
It was simple white cardstock, written in black marker. Solara. The chamber fell into shocked movement, whispers, color shifts, sharp breaths, nervous flashes of light. In the Aran section, Leora Ven watched with pale white glow across her face. At the highest platform, Speaker Orvin Thale leaned forward. He had silver skin, long fingers, and the tired patience of someone who had managed powerful people for too many years. The chamber recognizes an irregular presence at the primary table, he said. Zara touched the speaking panel. Solara, Commander Zara Rehman, United Solara Delegation, we received your invitation. The speaker paused. Solara has no approved seat. Zara looked down at the chair. We brought one. The chamber stirred louder. Speaker Thale continued carefully. Under registry protocol, Solara 3 is classified as an unconfirmed developing species. You may observe proceedings, you may not participate. Mara placed a thick document on the table. Zara rested one hand on it. This is Solara's formal objection. It includes the original recognition hearing, missing delivery confirmations, unanswered notices, and our response to every Concord decision that mentioned our system without our consent. The speaker looked at the document. How long is it? 1,360 pages. Tomas said softly, the journey gave us time. For the first time, doubt crossed Speaker Thale's face. Commander Rehman, does Solara arrive in peace? Zara thought of the forgotten inbox. She thought of Earth's rebuilt cities. She thought of ships named like promises. Yes, she said, but peace does not mean silence. Beyond the station walls, 1,036 human vessels waited under strict orders. No weapons charged, no engines advanced. Humanity had finally entered the room. But one powerful delegation did not fear humanity's anger. They feared humanity's evidence.
The first attack against Solara was not fired from a cannon. It was placed on the council screen as a single word: threat. Lord Dravik of the Varkan Dominion rose from his seat. His black armor reflected the chamber lights. His 4 narrow eyes were fixed on Zara as if she were already guilty. I submit an emergency motion, he said. Solara must be declared a danger to Concord stability. The chamber stirred. Zara remained seated. Mara leaned closer. He came prepared. Zara kept her eyes on Dravik. Then let him reveal why. A live image appeared above the central table. It showed the Solara fleet outside the station, hundreds of bright marks against deep space. Dravik lifted his hand toward it. They ignored this council for 67 years. Now they arrive with more warships than most recognized powers. They call it diplomacy. I call it pressure. Some delegates murmured in agreement. Dravik turned, feeding the fear. Today they bring a chair. Tomorrow they may demand borders. If we reward this display, the Concord teaches every young species that force is the quickest path to recognition. Zara felt anger rise. She did not let it speak for her. She opened her folder and removed one page. Speaker Thale, may I respond? The speaker nodded. For clarification. Zara stood. The fleet outside is not in attack formation. Forward weapons are inactive. Shields are defensive. Medical carriers are broadcasting open aid codes. Communication channels remain available to this station and all delegations. She placed the formation map on the table. Any military observer here can confirm this. The room quieted. Then Admiral Mercer's voice entered through the chamber speakers from the flagship. United Solara Fleet confirms, we will not advance unless invited. We will not fire unless fired upon. We are present because humanity was judged without being heard. Dravik's face hardened. Before he could answer, Leora Ven stood in the Aran section. Her glow was bright now, no longer hidden. I inspected Solara's shipyards. Their strength is real, so is their restraint.
If they came to threaten us, they would not have powered down their weapons before entering range. Dravik turned sharply. You were impressed by them? No, Leora said. I was corrected by evidence. That sentence moved through the chamber like a crack in old stone. Speaker Thale looked across the delegations. The emergency motion will be reviewed after the classification appeal. Dravik sat down, but his eyes stayed on Zara. She knew the motion had only been delayed. The real fight had begun. Inside the chamber, laws were being tested. Outside, humanity waited with disciplined silence, not as a blade over the council's head, but as proof that power could be controlled. Zara looked at the handmade Solara card. It had not fallen. But during the next recess, Mara found a hidden delivery record, and it proved humanity had not missed the galaxy's messages by accident.
Mara Quinn found the hidden record during the second recess. The chamber had broken into nervous groups. Delegates whispered in corners. Aides rushed between platforms. Lord Dravik spoke calmly with his advisors, as if the day still belonged to him. At the Solara table, Mara was reviewing the original registry file. Suddenly, she stopped. Zara noticed at once. What did you find? Mara's voice was low. The first invitation was not lost. Tomas moved closer. Then why did it go into the archive? Mara turned the screen toward them. Because someone sent it there. The file showed the first Concord notice from 2059. It had reached Solara's outer relay. The system had received it properly. Then a hidden command changed the delivery path and marked it as unsafe foreign noise. Mara opened the next notice. Same action. Then the next. Again. The same command appeared year after year, buried under layers of old routing data. Zara pointed to the authorization mark at the bottom. That code is not ours. No, Mara said. It belongs to the Varkan Dominion. Tomas went pale. Dravik's people blocked the messages. Mara nodded, repeatedly, quietly, for decades. For a moment, Zara could not speak. Humanity had been judged for not answering a door that someone else had locked. Earth had carried the shame of silence while a recognized power shaped the story from the shadows. Zara remembered her father's voice from childhood. When someone buries the truth, do not scream into the ground. Dig. She took the screen and walked towards Speaker Thale's platform. Mara and Tomas followed. The speaker looked down. Commander Rehman? This must be entered into the official record, Zara said. Speaker Thale studied the file. His silver face tightened. This is a serious accusation. Mara answered, It is a delivery log. The accusation comes from what the log proves. Dravik noticed the attention and stepped forward. What is happening? Zara turned toward him. Your authorization code appears on 67 years of diverted Solara messages. The chamber went silent. Dravik gave a short laugh. Codes can be copied. Yes, Zara said. That is why the whole record must be opened. Leora rose immediately. Auron supports an emergency review. Other delegates began checking their own systems. Concern spread quickly now, not loud, but sharp. Speaker Thale lifted one hand. The recess is ended. The delivery record will be examined by the chamber. Zara returned to her chair, but she did not sit immediately. All day she had believed humanity arrived late. Now she understood the truth. Humanity had been kept outside, and the person who helped lock the door was sitting across the room. But when the full record opened, the Council discovered the Varkan had hidden more than messages. They had hidden their fear of what humanity might become.
The full record appeared above the central table. At first, it looked like ordinary archive data. Delivery paths, council stamps, old notices, technical marks from years most delegates had forgotten. Then Mara found the second layer. Her voice became careful. There are military assessments attached. Speaker Thale leaned forward. From whom? Mara opened the file. Varkin Strategic Watch Report, Solara System, 2048. Zara stared at the date. That was before the first official Concord notice, before humanity knew the Concord existed, before Earth had any chance to answer. Images appeared on the screen. Earth during its hardest years, cities under smoke, borders under strain, hospitals overflowing, soldiers carrying children through flooded streets, nations arguing while ordinary people kept each other alive. The Varkin report had not called humanity weak, it had called humanity dangerous. Mara read from the marked lines. Human groups show extreme internal conflict, but recovery after disaster is unusually rapid. Another line appeared. Industrial output increases after crisis instead of collapsing. Then a third. If unified, this species may become a major military and economic power within 1 century. The chamber went very still. Tomas whispered, "They were afraid of us before we even knew they existed." Mara continued, "Recommendation, delay recognition, limit diplomatic access, encourage unstable classification until regional balance is protected." No one spoke for several seconds. This was no longer a mistake, it was policy. Lord Dravik rose. "Every major power studies possible risks." Zara faced him. "Did every major power block our messages?" He did not answer. Zara stepped into the center of the chamber. "You watched us during our worst years," she said. "You saw war, hunger, disaster, and grief. You saw us fall and stand up again. You did not offer help. You did not offer contact. You hid the road, then told the galaxy we never walked it." Her voice softened, but the emotion deepened. "We were not innocent. We hurt ourselves for a long time, but we were also learning. We buried our dead. We rebuilt our homes. We changed old weapons into rescue ships. That should have mattered." Speaker Thale turned toward the Varkin section. "The Dominion will surrender all related records for review." Dravik's eyes flashed. "The Varkin Dominion does not submit to humiliation." Zara looked at him calmly. "Truth is not humiliation. It only feels that way when you have lived inside a lie." Across the chamber, several delegations raised support lights for Solara. Not enough to end the fight, enough to show the room had shifted. Zara returned to her chair. The council had begun the day asking whether humanity deserved recognition. Now it was asking whether the Concord deserved humanity's trust. But when Dravik realized the council might turn against him, he stopped using words and reached for the one thing he understood best: control.
Lord Dravik did not shout. He simply touched the black ring on his finger. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the chamber lights flickered. Translation panels froze, voting terminals shut down. A sharp alarm screamed from the walls. Several delegates covered their ears, others recoiled as their life support seed switched into emergency mode. Zara turned to Mara. "Systems attack?" Mara was already working. "Worse, something is taking station control." Speaker Thale stood. "Security Command, report." No answer came. The central display went black. Then the Varkin Dominion symbol appeared. Dravik's recorded voice filled the chamber, though he stood silent below it. "Emergency authority has been activated. All unregistered military forces near this station are considered hostile." Zara looked toward the tactical screen. The station's defense cannons were turning. Their targets appeared one by one, the Solara fleet. Tomas understood first. If the station fires, our ships may think the Concord attacked them. Mara's face tightened, and if our ships fire back, Dravik wins. Zara turned to him. "You are trying to start a war." Dravik's eyes were cold. "I am proving you brought one." The first defense cannon locked onto the flagship Long Dawn. Admiral Mercer's voice entered Zara's private channel. "Commander, station weapons are targeting us. Orders!" Zara felt the lives outside the chamber pressing against that single question. If she ordered retreat, the Council would see panic. If she ordered attack, humanity would become the threat Dravik promised. If she waited too long, people might die. She took one breath. "Admiral Mercer, shields only, no weapons fire. Repeat, no weapons fire." A pause followed. Then Mercer answered, steady as stone. "Confirmed, shields only." On the screen, human ships did not advance, they did not scatter, they opened defensive fields, blue light spreading around each vessel. Dravik's expression changed. He had expected fear. He had expected humans to reach for violence. They reached for protection. Leora Venn stood, her glow bright enough to wash the Auran section in white. "Speaker Thale, Solara is not attacking. The station has been compromised by Varkan Command." The speaker's old voice hardened. "Concord security, isolate Dominion access." Still no reply. Mara's eyes raced across her tablet. "Their control is running through the old delivery channel." Zara looked at her. "The same path that used against us?" "Yes." "Can you enter it?" Mara's mouth tightened. "They left a door open in our history. I can use it." Zara nodded. "Then open it." Mara began forcing her way into the hidden Varkan channel while the station cannons held their aim. The chamber waited between law and disaster. But inside that hidden Varkan channel, Mara found something impossible, a human voice from the past that proved Earth had tried to answer.
Mara followed the hidden channel into old code. The chamber lights flashed red. Delegates remained trapped in emergency lockdown. On the main screen, station cannons stayed fixed on the Solara fleet, while human shields glowed quietly in the dark. Zara stood close to Mara. "How deep does it go?" Mara said, "Deep enough to survive decades, but something is sealed inside." Tomas looked toward Dravik. "He built this long before today." Dravik said nothing. For the first time, his confidence looked damaged. Mara pushed through another layer. Her screen went black. Then a human voice came from the tablet. "If anyone from Earth hears this, my name is Dr. Elias Noor. I worked on the outer relay team in 2059. We received the first message. We tried to respond." Zara froze. The chamber became painfully quiet. The recording was rough, broken by static, but the voice carried enough truth to silence every word in the room. "Our reply was blocked by foreign code. We reported the breach, but the report disappeared. I am hiding this message inside the corrupted path. If it survives, remember this: Earth was not silent." Mara's eyes filled with tears. Her hands did not stop. Zara felt something break open inside her. For decades, humanity had believed the galaxy called and Earth failed to answer. Now a dead man from the past was saying someone had reached back. Someone had tried. Someone had been erased. The recording continued. "I left a key. Simple things survive longer than clever things. Use the phrase my daughter said when she was afraid of quiet places." A blank line appeared. Zara leaned closer. "What phrase?" Dr. Noor's voice softened. She said, "Home is not empty when people are still inside." Mara typed the words. For one terrible second, nothing happened. Then the tablet flashed green. "I'm in," Mara whispered. Across the chamber, the alarm stopped. The cannons froze. Dravik stepped back. Speaker Thale gripped the edge of his platform. "Can you remove Dominion control?" Mara looked at Zara. Zara nodded. "Take it away from him." Mara entered the final command. The Varkan symbol vanished. The Concord seal returned. One by one, the station weapons powered down. Admiral Mercer's voice came through. "Commander, targeting locks are gone. Fleet secure." Zara closed her eyes for half a second. Maintain shields, no escalation. Then she faced Dravik. "You did not only hide our messages, you buried the people who tried to answer them." Dravik had no reply. Every delegation had heard the recording. Every delegation had seen humanity hold its fire. And every delegation now understood something important. A wounded civilization with self-control was more powerful than any angry empire. But when the Council prepared to punish the Varkan, Zara refused to take the easy revenge, and her choice changed the meaning of justice in that chamber.
The chamber expected revenge. After the station was freed, all eyes turned to Speaker Thale. Some delegates demanded arrest. Others called for sanctions. A few watched the Solera fleet, afraid its shields would become weapons. Lord Dravik stood alone. His pride remained, but his power had cracked. Speaker Thale spoke slowly. "The Varkan representative has violated Concord law, endangered this station, and attempted to provoke armed conflict. The Council will decide emergency punishment." Before he could continue, Zara raised her hand. Mara looked at her. "Commander." Zara stood. "Solara requests permission to speak first." The speaker studied her. "Granted." Zara walked to the center of the chamber. Hundreds of worlds waited for her anger. Maybe they thought humanity would finally become what Dravik had described, a species too wounded to be trusted, too powerful to be safe. Zara looked at Dravik. "You stole our voice for 67 years. You shaped our silence into evidence against us. You used fear to hide what you did. Today, you tried to turn this council into a weapon." Dravik's jaw tightened. Zara turned to the chamber. "But Solara does not ask for revenge." The room stirred. She continued before doubt could grow. "We ask for truth, full truth. Every hidden report, every blocked message, every distress call buried because it came from a weak world, every civilization delayed, mislabeled, or ignored because someone powerful wanted more time." Speaker Thale's expression darkened. "Such an investigation may expose failures across the Concord itself." "Yes," Zara said. "Then the Concord can finally become worthy of its name." Dravik gave a bitter laugh. "You call this mercy?" Zara faced him again. "No, mercy without truth is weakness. Truth without mercy becomes another weapon. Humanity has lived through both." Her voice lowered. "We are not careful because we never felt rage. We are careful because we know what rage does when it is allowed to lead." On the flagship, Admiral Mercer listened with his crew. Many of them carried family names from old war memorials. They understood Zara's words. Peace was not forgetting violence. Peace was remembering its cost clearly enough to choose something else. Leora Venn stood. "Auran supports Solara's request for a full-truth investigation." Another delegation raised its support light, then another. Soon the chamber glowed with signals from worlds that had stayed silent too long. Speaker Thale bowed his head. "The motion enters emergency review." Dravik looked shaken. Prison might have made him proud. Truth would make him small. Zara returned to her chair. Mara whispered, "You could have asked them to destroy him." Zara looked at the Solara card. "I know. That is why I chose something harder." But the investigation uncovered more than crimes against Earth. It revealed another world, still alive, still calling, and almost out of time.
The investigation began with Varkan communication files. At first, the Council found what it expected: blocked Solara notices, secret reports, false summaries. Every file made the Dominion look smaller and the old classification system look weaker. Then Mara found a folder with no title, only a code, Archive 77B. She opened it on the chamber screen. A weak sound filled the room, broken by static and distance. The translator struggled, caught fragments, then shaped them into words. "Please answer." No one moved. The voice returned, thin and frightened. "We are the people of Namaris. Our sun is failing. We sent requests to the Concord. Please answer. We do not have much time." A planetary image appeared. Namaris was blue-gray, wrapped in violent clouds. Its oceans were dark. On the night side, a few cities still glowed, faint as candles near the end of their wax. Laura covered her mouth. Her glow became soft with grief. Speaker Thale checked the registry. Namaris is not listed under active rescue protection. Mara's voice shook. Because the Varkin hid the calls. Thomas read the dates. The first signal came 42 years ago. The newest one is 8 months old. Zara stepped closer to the display. 8 months means they may still be alive. For a moment, the Concord chamber became something different. Not a court, not a battlefield, a room full of people listening to a dying world. Zara thought of Dr. Elias Noor hiding proof in old code. She thought of Earth almost losing its voice. Then she looked at Speaker Thale. "Where is Namaris?" The speaker hesitated. "Beyond Varkin border space." Dravik spoke from his section. "That region is under Dominion Security Authority. No mission enters without approval." Zara turned toward him. "You lost the right to guard silence." Several delegations reacted sharply. Everyone knew Varkin border space was dangerous. A rescue mission there could become a war front. Speaker Thale looked older now. Concord rescue law requires response to active distress signals. "Then respond now," Zara said. The speaker looked across the chamber. A rescue force must be formed. Zara did not wait. "Solara will go." Mara stared at her. "Commander, we do not know what is waiting there." Zara's eyes stayed on the image of Namaris. "We know someone asked for help." Admiral Mercer's voice entered from the flagship. "United Solara Fleet can deploy medical carriers, shield vessels, and evacuation craft immediately." Laura stood. "Orin will assist." Other delegations followed. Some offered ships, some offered doctors, some offered fuel, shelter pods, and translation teams. Zara looked once at the handmade Solara card. Humanity had come asking for a seat. Now it was leaving to answer a call. But when the rescue fleet reached Namaris, they found Varkin warships blocking the planet, and the last survivors had only hours left.
The rescue fleet reached Namaris in less than 5 hours. For the first time since arriving at the Concord, Solara's ships moved at full purpose. Medical carriers led the way. Engineering vessels followed with repair drones, shelter pods, and water processors. Shield cruisers spread into a wide arc to protect the evacuation craft. The warships stayed behind the rescue line. Their weapons remained cold. On the bridge of the Long Dawn, Admiral Mercer watched Namaris appear on the main screen. The planet was beautiful and dying. Its clouds burned orange under an unstable sun. Its oceans looked almost black. On the dark side, only a few cities still had power. Then the second scan arrived. Varkin warships surrounded the world. "Count?" Mercer asked. 28 Dominion vessels, an officer replied. "Heavy class. They are blocking safe approach paths." Zara's voice came from the Concord chamber. "Open a channel." A Varkin commander appeared.
His armor was dark red, his face empty of shame. "This region is under Dominion control," he said. "Turn back." Zara stepped into the broadcast frame. "This is Commander Zara Rehman of Solara. We are here for evacuation. No rescue has been approved. People are dying. That does not make them your concern." The bridge went silent. Zara's expression did not change, but her voice became ice. "It makes them everyone's concern." Before the Varkan commander could answer, a weak emergency signal broke through. A child appeared on the screen, thin and frightened, with silver markings across her cheeks. "Please," she whispered, "the shelters are too hot. My mother says the sky is burning." Then the signal died. No one in the Concord chamber spoke. Zara turned to Mercer. "Begin rescue formation." Mercer nodded. "All ships, shield extension. Medical carriers, prepare descent. Do not return fire unless there is no other way to protect civilians." The Solara fleet moved forward. Varkan weapons charged weapons. In the chamber, Dravik shouted, "This is invasion!" Zara looked at him with open disgust. "No, this is what you refused to do." The first Varkan blast struck the shield cruiser Mercy after fire. The ship shook hard but did not return fire. Another blast hit, then another. The human shield line connected vessel to vessel, forming a blue barrier between the Dominion guns and the planet. Behind it, evacuation craft dropped into the burning atmosphere. Minutes stretched like hours. Varkan weapons kept firing. Solara crews held their positions. Then Leora's voice entered the rescue channel. "Aran vessels are joining the shield line." Another fleet followed, then another. Concord ships moved beside Solara, not because they had to, but because shame had finally become action. The Varkan commander watched the growing defense wall and understood too late. Humanity had not come to conquer the galaxy. Humanity had come to remind it how to protect. But as the last Namaris survivors were lifted from the planet, their dying sun released one final warning, and Zara had to choose between saving the fleet or saving thousands more lives.
The warning came from every sensor at once. Namaris' sun was entering final collapse. In less than 11 minutes, a wave of heat and radiation would strike the planet's orbit. Any ship still nearby could burn, break apart, or lose power forever. On the bridge of the Long Dawn, Admiral Mercer stared at the evacuation display. "How many remain?" 17,000 confirmed in lower shelters, an officer replied. "The rescue craft cannot reach all of them before the burst." In the Concord chamber, Zara heard every word. No one spoke about votes now. No one mentioned classification. The handmade Solara card, the folding chair, the old laws, all of it felt small beside the lives still trapped below. Mercer's voice came through. "Commander, if we withdraw now, most of the fleet survives." Zara's hand tightened on the table. Her voice trembled, but it did not break. "Ask for volunteers." Mercer turned to his crew, but before he could speak, lights appeared across the fleet display. One ship moved forward, then 10, then dozens. The Mercy after fire, the Homebound, the Never Again, the Long Dawn. Solara shield vessels formed a barrier between the dying sun and the evacuation zone. Then Auran ships joined them. Thalos ships followed. Maru medical carriers moved into support. Even small civilian rescue craft added their shields to the pattern. Speaker Thale stood in the chamber, his voice heavy with emotion. "All Concord vessels protect the evacuation." This time, the Council answered together. The shield wall grew, blue, white, gold, and violet against the burning dark. Below, the last survivors were lifted from shelters. Parents carried children. Doctors carried the wounded. Elders looked back at their dying world and said goodbye without words. The solar burst arrived like a second sun. The shield wall bent. Ships screamed under pressure. Hulls cracked. Engines failed, but the line did not break. When the light passed, Namaris was gone. Its people were not. 17,000 survivors reached safety. In the Concord chamber, silence held first. It was too full for cheering. Then Leora stood and placed both hands over her heart. One by one, every delegation followed in its own way. Speaker Thale faced Zara. Solara is recognized as a full member of the Stellar Concord, with voting rights, treaty protection, and a permanent seat. Zara looked at the folded chair, then at the image of the rescued Namaris survivors. Recognize Namaris, too. The speaker bowed his head. So recorded. Months later, the Concord Charter was rewritten. No civilization could be classified without being heard. No distress call could be hidden. No powerful world could erase a quieter one. The folding chair was placed in Earth's Hall of First Contact. Beside it sat the recovered message of Dr. Elias Noor. Under them, a line was written. "We were delayed because someone closed the door. We came anyway." And from that day on, the galaxy no longer remembered humanity as the species that brought warships to a meeting. It remembered humanity as the species that brought shields to a dying world. May this message strengthen your faith and renew your hope. Thank you for staying until the end. If this touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe to Astro Realms for more uplifting content. May God's blessings overflow in your life. See you soon.